The deep silence of space stretched endlessly. Stars glimmered in the distance, and the hum of the small Earthship echoed in the cabin. The pilot, a human named Daniel, sat alone at the controls, sipping cold coffee and staring at the endless black sky. For weeks he had been traveling on a routine supply run. No danger, no adventure, only boredom and empty silence, but then everything changed in one strange moment. A sudden signal cut through the static of his communication screen. The sound was sharp and demanding, not like any normal message. The words were clear, loud and urgent. "Hurry up and slide it in already." Earthling. Daniel almost spilled his coffee, blinking hard, wondering if he had finally lost his mind in the quiet of space. The voice was female, powerful, and carried the tone of someone used to commanding armies. It was not a request, it was an order. Daniel checked his systems twice, but the signal did not fade. Instead, it grew stronger. The screen flashed symbols that his computer could not translate, alien letters dancing across the display. His heart pounded. Humans had only recently made contact with a few alien species, but never had he received such a direct message, and never from someone who called herself a princess. The words repeated. "Earthling, hurry up, slide it in." "Do not waste my time." Daniel scratched his head, confused. "Slide what in exactly?" he muttered. But the ship's sensors suddenly screamed with warnings. A massive shadow appeared in the distance, larger than any vessel he had ever seen. A colossal alien flagship emerged from hyperspace. Its silver surface glowed under distant starlight. Its structure looked like a floating palace mixed with a warship. Towers and glowing crystals shined like a crown. Before he could react, his small ship was pulled forward by a powerful tractor beam. The controls locked, alarms buzzed. Daniel had no choice. He was being dragged into the heart of the alien vessel. Inside the giant flagship, the hangar was lined with alien soldiers, their armor shining, their weapons glowing with strange energy. Daniel's small Earthship landed gently, but the atmosphere inside was thick with tension. The air smelled of metal and something sweet yet sharp. He could feel hundreds of eyes on him. The voice returned, echoing through the speakers of the hangar. "Earthling, do not hesitate, you have been chosen. Only you can complete the task and my patience is thin." Daniel swallowed hard. He was just a supply pilot, not a soldier, not a hero. Why him? The hatch of his ship opened with a hiss. Alien guards marched forward, tall figures with glowing eyes. Their armor carved with royal patterns. They did not speak, but their sharp gestures made it clear Daniel had to follow step by step. He walked across the massive hangar floor, his boots clanking, his mind racing. He thought of Earth, of his small apartment back home, of the normal life he was supposed to live. Now he was standing inside the largest alien ship he had ever seen, facing unknown danger. The guards led him into a long corridor. Glowing blue lights lined the walls. Strange alien art decorated the halls. Everything looked both beautiful and intimidating as they marched deeper into the ship. The voice of the princess grew louder. "Hurry, Earthling." "I will not wait forever." Daniel's heart beat faster. His breathing grew heavy. Every step made him feel smaller, weaker. Yet something inside him also burned with curiosity. What could be so important that an alien princess demanded it from a random human like him? Finally, the guard stopped in front of a giant golden door. The surface shimmered like liquid light. Two armored figures placed their hands on glowing panels. The door opened slowly, revealing a massive throne room. Inside, the hall stretched high into the sky. Pillars of crystal rose like trees of light, and at the end of the hall sat the alien princess herself. Tall, radiant, with skin that shimmered like silver moonlight. Her eyes glowed with a mix of authority and impatience. She wore royal armor that looked both elegant and deadly. She leaned forward on her throne, her voice cutting through the silence. "So the Earthling arrives at last. You are slower than I expected," she said, her tone sharp. "Do you not understand? The galaxy does not wait for humans. Now hurry. Slide it in already." "Before it is too late." Daniel froze. Staring at her, his mouth dry, he wanted to ask what she meant. What she wanted? Why him of all people? But before he could speak, the guards pushed him forward, forcing him closer to the throne, closer to the impatient princess who looked at him as if he was the only tool left to save her empire. And in that moment, Daniel realized something. Whatever this was, it was not a joke. It was not an accident. It was destiny. The fate of his life, maybe even the fate of Earth itself, now rested on the strange demand of an alien princess. The princess rose from her throne, her armor clinking, her glowing eyes locked on him. "Do not waste another second, human," she declared. "For my patience ends here." Daniel's hands trembled, sweat dripped from his brow. His mind screamed with questions, but deep down, one thought echoed louder than the rest. What in the stars had he just stepped into? The golden throne room glowed with alien light. Crystals hummed like living stars on the walls, and Daniel felt as if he had stepped into another world. The alien princess sat high above on her throne, her silver armor gleaming, her eyes sharp and glowing like fire trapped in ice. She did not smile, she did not welcome him. Instead, she tapped her fingers against the armrest, each tap echoing like a countdown. "Earthling," she said, her voice strong and sharp. "You walk too slowly. Do you not understand that time is burning?" Her tone carried both anger and command. It was the voice of someone who had always been obeyed. Daniel wanted to explain. He wanted to tell her he had no idea what she was talking about, but the words stuck in his throat. The guards pushed him closer to the center of the hall. Their glowing spears pointed at his back. Daniel stumbled, his footsteps heavy. He felt smaller with every step. The throne room was not built for humans. It was built to remind everyone that the princess was higher, greater, untouchable. Finally, he stood before her throne, and the alien princess leaned forward, her long silver hair flowing like liquid light. Her eyes studied him with impatience. "So this is the human," she whispered, her voice soft for only a moment. Then she rose to her full height, her presence filling the hall like a storm. "You are weaker than I expected, smaller, fragile, and yet—" "It must be you," Daniel blinked, his heart raced. "Why me?" he finally managed to ask, his voice shaky. "I'm not special, I'm not even a soldier. I'm just a supply pilot." The princess narrowed her eyes, her lips curling into the faintest shadow of a smile. "That is what makes you different, human. No machine can predict you. No soldier can break rules the way you do. Your kind thinks sideways. Your kind bends the impossible," she said, stepping down from her throne, each step heavy with authority. "And that is why you are here." Daniel stepped back, confused, his breath caught in his throat. "Here for what?" he asked, trying to stay calm. The princess pointed toward the massive sealed chamber at the side of the throne room. A golden door with glowing locks pulsing with alien energy. The air around it shimmered like heat. "Inside lies the device," she said, her tone impatient. "It has slept for centuries. Only an Earthling can slide it in and awaken it. My empire has waited long enough. My patience has died long enough. You will do it now." Daniel shook his head, fear creeping into his chest. "Device awaken. Slide what in?" he muttered under his breath. The words felt ridiculous, none of this made sense. Yet the princess's eyes glared at him like twin suns, burning with command. "Do not mock my words." "Human?" she snapped, her voice echoing across the hall. "My world depends on this, my throne depends on this. And I will not be made to wait while you stumble like a child. Now obey." The guards moved closer, their glowing spears threatening. Daniel raised his hands nervously. Wait. I don't even know what I'm supposed to do. What happens if I fail?" he asked, his voice shaking. The princess paused, her eyes narrowing. For the first time, her expression shifted from pure command to something else, something heavier. "If you fail," she said slowly, her voice dropping lower, "then not only my empire dies, but your Earth will also fall. For the enemy inside the device does not care for humans or aliens. It cares only for destruction." Daniel's stomach dropped, the words hit him like cold steel. This was bigger than her impatience, bigger than royal pride. This was life and death on a scale he had never imagined. The princess stepped closer, her silver armor glinting under the crystal light. Her presence so close Daniel could feel the heat of her power. "Now you understand, Earthling, there is no running. There is no delay. You must hurry, for even I cannot wait forever," she whispered, her words cutting deep. Daniel's mind screamed with doubt, fear, and confusion. He wanted to run back to his small ship, to escape into the quiet of space. But the door to the chamber opened with a deep hiss. Golden light spilling out, the guards shoved him forward, and the princess raised her hand in command. "You will enter," she ordered, her voice ringing through the room like a final sentence. "And you will awaken the device now, human. Hurry." Daniel's feet dragged against the polished floor. His throat dry, sweat rolled down his face. The glowing chamber grew larger before his eyes. Strange symbols burned on the walls like living fire. The sound of humming energy filled his ears. Louder and louder. Behind him, the princess stood tall. Her eyes locked on him with unshaken confidence, as if she knew he could not escape destiny, as if she believed her words alone could force him to succeed. Daniel stopped at the entrance, his chest rising and falling with sharp breaths. He turned one last time, staring at the princess. "And if I say no?" he asked quietly. The princess's eyes narrowed, and for a brief moment, silence filled the throne room. Then she spoke, her voice cold, sharp, and final. "Then Earth dies with you." Daniel's legs trembled, his heart thundered in his chest, and before he could protest again, the guards shoved him inside. The golden door sealing shut behind him with a crash. The sound echoed like a trap, like a cage. And in the darkness of the chamber, the human finally realized that the impatient alien princess had thrown him into the heart of a destiny he could not escape. The golden door sealed shut behind Daniel, the sound heavy like a prison gate. The chamber inside was dark at first. Then lights began to glow slowly, lines of blue and gold running across the walls. The air vibrated with energy. It felt alive. The silence was replaced by a low hum, like the steady breathing of some great machine. Daniel stood still, his heart beating faster with every second. Sweat clung to his forehead. His eyes darted across the strange chamber. Symbols carved into the walls glowed faintly. Shifting like they were alive, he had never seen technology like this. It felt older than any alien he had ever heard of. At the center of the chamber stood the device, a massive structure of crystal and metal, pulsing faintly like a dying star. Its surface was cracked in places. Glowing faint blue light leaked out. The hum grew louder as Daniel stepped closer. His voice trembled. "This is what she wants me to slide something into," he whispered to himself. The machine looked dangerous, unstable, and he had no idea what to do. The princess's voice echoed from hidden speakers, sharp and commanding. "Do not hesitate, human. You stand before the heart of my empire. Awaken it now." Daniel spun around, but the door was sealed. The guards were gone. It was just him and the machine. "I don't even know how." He shouted back, his voice cracking, but the princess's voice carried no sympathy, only impatience. "You are human, that is enough. Do what only your kind can do." He swallowed hard. His mind raced. The device was covered with strange slots, grooves, and glowing ports. Some looked like they were meant for alien tools. Others seemed broken. Then his eyes caught one opening near the base. Small, almost hidden, it was shaped strangely. But as Daniel looked at it, he felt something familiar, as if it had been made for human hands. His fingers tingled when he moved closer. He hesitated, sweat dripping down his face. The hum of the machine grew louder. The blue light pulsed faster. Daniel felt pressure in his chest, as if the device was calling to him, urging him, begging him to act. "Slide it in already." "Earthling?" The princess's voice snapped again, sharp and full of frustration. Daniel clenched his fists. "Slide what? My hand a tool? What if it explodes?" He muttered, his heart racing, but deep inside, something told him to trust his instinct. Slowly he reached toward the slot, his hand shaking. His fingers brushed the glowing surface, and suddenly a surge of energy rushed through his body. The machine roared to life. Lights blazed across the chamber. Symbols spun wildly. Daniel gasped, his body shivering from the shock. His palm locked perfectly into the slot, as if it had been waiting only for him. The hum grew louder, shaking the chamber. Dust fell from the ceiling. The ground trembled. Alarms rang out in alien tones, echoing across the chamber and spilling into the throne room outside. Daniel shouted, "What's happening?" But the princess's voice only hissed back, "You are awakening it. Do not stop, human. Do not dare stop." The light turned red. Shadows twisted across the walls. Strange shapes flickered in the glowing crystal. Daniel felt something stir deep inside the machine. Not just energy, but something alive. A cold voice, different from the princess, whispered inside his mind. "At last, free." Daniel froze, his eyes wide. He tried to pull his hand back, but the machine held him tight. The energy locked him in place. The princess's voice roared, "Do not pull away, Earthling. The device must awaken." But Daniel felt the whisper grow stronger, darker. "You are the key. Human, and now you are mine." The lights of the chamber turned violent, flashing red and white. The machine shook like a beast waking from sleep. Symbols on the walls burned with strange fire. Daniel screamed, trying to resist. "What are you?" But the whisper only laughed, low and cruel. "I am what they tried to bury, what they tried to lock away, and you, Earthling, you have freed me." His body trembled, his hand burning against the glowing slot. The princess's voice filled the chamber again. "Do not fail, human, if you fail. My empire falls if you fail, your earth burns." Daniel gritted his teeth, his muscles screaming, his mind torn between the princess's command and the dark voice inside the machine. The device pulsed brighter, louder. The hum turned into a roar, and then the golden chamber shook violently. Cracks spread across the crystal core. Daniel's voice broke in panic. "It's breaking apart!"
"What do I do?"
The princess shouted. "You finish what you started, Earthling." But the dark whisper hissed inside his skull. "Let it break. Let it all fall. Set me free." The chamber filled with blinding light. The floor shook like an earthquake. Daniel cried out as the machine's energy surged through him, his body glowing faintly under the power. Then with a deafening crack, the device split open. A wave of black smoke and fire poured out. The whisper turned into a scream of joy. Free at last. Daniel collapsed to his knees, gasping for air, his body trembling. The golden chamber now bathed in red light, the energy no longer calm but wild, violent, alive. The princess's voice shouted over the chaos, for the first time sounding less like command and more like fear. "Earthling, what have you done?" Daniel lifted his head weakly, staring at the cracks spreading across the chamber walls, his voice shaking. I think I just released something." And in the shadows deep inside the broken device, two glowing eyes opened, burning with hatred, staring at him. The impossible task was no longer about awakening the machine. It was about surviving what he had unleashed. The chamber shook with violent energy. Sparks shot from the broken machine, and Daniel could barely breathe. The black smoke twisted into shapes, curling and stretching like living shadows. The air turned cold. Too cold, as if the warmth of life itself was being drained away. From within the smoke, two burning eyes glowed red. Sharp and cruel, they locked onto Daniel, and for a moment he felt as if those eyes pierced right into his soul. The whisper in his head returned, louder now. "So weak, so fragile, and yet, you opened the door for me." Daniel's knees trembled. His hands shook. He backed away from the core, his voice cracking. "Who? What are you?" The shadow answered with a laugh that echoed across the chamber. Dark and heavy. "I am the Forgotten One, the enemy of her kind, the curse she tried to bury, and now, thanks to you, I rise again." Outside the golden door, alarm screamed across the alien flagship. Soldiers shouted in their strange language, but the princess's voice cut through the chaos. Her tone no longer only impatient, but sharp with fear. "Earthling, control it. Do not let it escape." Daniel shouted back, his voice panicked. "Control it? I can't even move it. What is this thing?" The princess's voice cracked like a whip. "It is the reason my empire has suffered for centuries. It is the shadow of a war long forgotten, and you, human, have set it free." The shadow inside the chamber swirled, forming into a towering figure. Half smoke, half fire, its limbs long and jagged, its face twisted with hatred. "Your empire was weak," it growled. "You locked me away, but nothing can hold me forever, and this Earthling, this fragile creature, was the key you never expected." Daniel's chest tightened, his heart pounded so loud he could hear it in his ears. Sweat ran down his face. "I didn't mean to free you," he shouted. "I was just doing what she told me." The shadow bent closer, its burning eyes inches from his face. "Intentions do not matter, human, only actions. And your action has given me freedom." Suddenly, the machine behind the shadow cracked further. Explosions of light burst from the crystal, and the energy of the chamber surged outwards, throwing Daniel against the wall. Pain shot through his body. He gasped, trying to stand. The princess's voice filled the chamber again. Louder, harsher. "Earthling, listen to me. That thing is more dangerous than you can imagine. If it leaves this chamber, it will consume the ship, and then the stars themselves. You must fight it." Daniel coughed, his hands shaking. "Fight it? With what? I don't even have a weapon." The shadow laughed again, the sound heavy and mocking. "No weapon can touch me. No blade, no fire, no power of her kind. I was made from the dark between stars. I am eternal." But then the shadow's red eyes narrowed. As if noticing something, it tilted its head, studying Daniel. "And yet, you are different, Earthling. You burn in a way they do not. Your spirit is untamed. Your fear makes you unpredictable. You interest me." Daniel swallowed hard, unsure if that was a blessing or a curse. The air grew heavier, the chamber darker, and the shadow stretched taller, its smoke pressing against the golden door, trying to break free. Outside, the princess shouted orders to her guards. Their weapons hummed as they prepared, but even through the door they could feel the growing terror. The golden walls cracked under the pressure. Daniel stumbled to his feet, his mind racing. He remembered her words, that humans bend the impossible, that humans break rules no one else can. Maybe that was his only chance. Maybe his unpredictability was the only weapon he had. The shadow lunged suddenly, its smoky claws slamming near him. Daniel rolled to the side, the ground trembling under the force. Shards of crystal rained down. He coughed through the dust, his chest burning. "Run all you want," the shadow growled. "But you cannot hide, you freed me, and now—" "You are mine!" Daniel's pulse raced, his lungs screamed for air. He spotted a shard of glowing crystal on the ground, sharp and humming with energy. His hand grabbed it without thinking. The shard burned his palm, but he held it tight. The shadow's red eyes flickered. For a moment its laughter stopped. "What is this?" it hissed. The shard's glow cut through its smoky body, leaving a faint scar of light. Daniel's eyes widened. "It can hurt you," he muttered, shock in his voice. The shard shook violently in his grip, but it was real. The first proof that maybe, just maybe, he had a chance. The princess's voice boomed through the chamber. "Yes, human. Use the crystal. Their kind fears light. You must hold it back. Do not let it escape." The shadow roared, its smoky form swirling with rage. "You dare use their cursed light against me? You are nothing but an accident of flesh and fear, Earthling, and yet you dare defy me." Daniel raised the shard, his arms trembling, the glow casting bright light across the chamber. The shadow shrieked, recoiling slightly. The wall shook again. The golden door cracked further. The princess shouted, her tone fierce, "Hold it, human! Do not let it pass or we are all lost." Daniel gritted his teeth, stepping forward despite the fear crushing his chest. The shard hummed louder. His body glowed faintly under its light. For the first time he felt not only fear, but a spark of courage. The shadow roared again, slamming against the door, its form twisting. "If I cannot break you now, Earthling, I will break everything you love, your earth, your people, your stars. All will fall." Daniel raised the shard higher, the light burning brighter, the smoke swirling faster, the chamber trembling like it was about to explode. And then, with a deafening crack, the golden door shattered, light and shadow spilling into the throne room beyond. The princess stood with her guards, her eyes wide, her voice sharp. "Earthling, hold the line!" Daniel shouted back, his voice filled with fear and fire. "I'll try." The shadow screamed, spreading across the throne room like a storm, its burning eyes blazing brighter than ever, and in that moment Daniel knew the impossible task had only just begun. The golden door shattered. Shards of light scattered across the throne room. The shadow storm poured out, its smoke twisting, its claws reaching. The red burning eyes lit the hall like fire. Alien guards raised their glowing weapons, their voices shouting in fear. But the shadow moved too fast, too powerful. The alien princess stood tall on her throne steps, her silver armor glowing faintly under the storm. Her voice cut through the chaos. "Earthling, hold the crystal! Keep it back!" Daniel stumbled forward, his hands shaking. The shard of glowing crystal burning in his grip. The light from it cut small holes in the smoky form of the shadow. But each time he struck, the darkness repaired itself, stronger, angrier. The shadow's voice roared, filling every corner of the hall. "You think you can harm me with broken light? Foolish human. Your kind always plays with fire it cannot control." Its smoky claw swept across the floor, sending guards flying, their weapons useless against the swirling mass. Daniel's chest pounded. His lungs burned, he gritted his teeth. Weapons don't work. But maybe... His mind raced. He remembered what the princess said before. Humans bend the impossible. Humans think sideways. Maybe brute force wasn't the answer. Maybe trickery was. He darted left, sliding behind one of the massive crystal pillars. The shadow followed, its smoky body slamming into the stone, shaking the ground. Daniel clutched the shard. His brain sparking with ideas, he shouted, "Princess!" "These pillars, they're made of the same crystal, right?" The princess's eyes widened, then she nodded sharply. "Yes, Earthling, they are light towers. They hold the energy of the core." Daniel's face lit with sudden hope, he shouted. "Then we can trap it between them. Use the light against its smoke." The princess raised her hand, barking orders to her guards. "Form the circle. Power the towers." The guards stumbled into position, pressing their armored hands against the pillars. The crystals began to glow, beams of light shooting into the air. The hall trembled as the energy formed a faint web. The shadow hissed, shrinking back slightly. "No, you cannot cage me again. I will not return to darkness." It lunged at Daniel, claws swinging. Daniel rolled across the floor. The shard glowing bright, he thrust it forward, stabbing into the smoky arm. The light tore through the shadow, it screamed, pulling back, the red eyes blazing hotter. "You dare, human!" it roared. "You think tricks and shards can stop me? I will tear your flesh, I will burn your earth." Daniel's breath came fast, his arms shook, but he shouted back, "You don't know humans. We don't give up and we don't fight fair." He dashed toward another pillar, jamming the shard into its glowing surface. The crystal flared, connecting brighter with the web of light. The shadow howled, thrashing wildly, smashing guards and knocking them aside. But every beam of light cut deeper into its smoky body. The princess watched closely, her eyes burning with strange intensity. For the first time, she did not look impatient. She looked impressed. Her voice rang out, "Earthling, guide the web, make it stronger." Daniel nodded, his chest heaving, his whole body aching. But he sprinted from pillar to pillar, dragging the shard along. The energy flared brighter. The web tightened, the shadow shrieked, its body twisting under the beams, but then the shadow's red eyes glowed brighter, and with a roar it slammed into the floor. Cracks spread across the crystal hall. The pillars shook. One of them shattered with a blast. The web flickered. Daniel fell hard to the ground, the shard slipping from his hands. His face scraped against the cold floor. He groaned, reaching out desperately. The shard slid just out of reach. The shadow loomed over him, towering like a living storm, its smoky claws stretching wide, its voice low and cruel. "You are clever, Earthling. But cleverness is not enough. I will end you now." Daniel's chest tightened, his breath ragged, but then his eyes darted to the shard, glowing faintly just a few feet away. He forced his aching body to crawl inch by inch, the shadow's claws descending closer. The princess's voice thundered across the hall. "Earthling, rise, do not let it claim you. Your spirit is your weapon." Daniel gritted his teeth, pain shooting through his body. He lunged forward, grabbing the shard. The light flared in his hand, brighter than before. The shadow recoiled, hissing in rage. "No, you cannot hold it. No human can hold this power." Daniel stood shakily, his legs trembling, his arm raised, the shard glowing like a small sun. "Maybe not forever," he said through clenched teeth, "but long enough to stop you." He jammed the shard into the cracked floor. The energy surged through the broken chamber. Beams of light shot upward, connecting the remaining pillars. The web flared brighter than before. The shadow screamed, its smoky form twisting violently, pieces of its body torn away by the burning light. The hall shook. Guards shielded their faces. The princess raised her arm, her silver armor glowing. Daniel shouted over the roar, "Princess! Now seal it." The princess slammed her gauntleted fist against a control panel on her throne. The crystals across the hall flared white. Beams of energy converged on the shadow. Burning through it, the red eyes blazed one last time. "Full of hatred, you cannot kill me." "Earthling!" it roared, its voice shaking the walls. "I will return, and when I do, your world will burn first." The light exploded. The shadow's body tore apart into smoke and fire, vanishing into the cracks of the crystal floor. Silence followed. The hall filled with smoke. The web of light flickered and then faded. Daniel fell to his knees, gasping, his hands shaking. The shard crumbled into dust in his palm. His vision blurred, but he could hear the princess's footsteps approaching, her voice low, almost respectful. "You surprise me, Earthling," she said, her glowing eyes fixed on him. "No one has ever fought it and lived." Daniel coughed, forcing a weak smile. "Yeah, well, humans don't exactly follow rules," but before he could rest, before the silence could bring peace, a deep rumble shook the floor. Cracks spread wider across the hall, the light dimmed, and the princess's eyes darkened, her voice grew sharp again. "No, this is not over, Earthling, it was only its shadow. The true enemy still sleeps deeper." Daniel's stomach dropped, his body froze. The hall trembled again, louder, stronger, and he realized the battle of wits was only the beginning. The throne room trembled. Dust fell from the tall crystal pillars. The golden floor cracked under Daniel's knees. He struggled to stand, his chest heaving, his hand still burned from the shard that had turned to dust. The shadow was gone, but the silence was not victory. It was warning. The alien princess stood tall, her silver armor dimmed from the energy burn. Her glowing eyes narrowed as she stared at the broken chamber floor. Her voice was sharp, but this time it carried something heavier than impatience. It carried fear. "Earthling, what you fought was only its shade. The true enemy still stirs beneath us." Daniel froze, sweat dripping down his face. That thing wasn't the real one?" he asked, his voice trembling. The princess stepped closer, her gaze fierce. "No, human. That was only a fragment. A whisper of its power. The real being lies sealed deeper within the royal core. And now the seal is breaking." Daniel's stomach twisted, his throat dry. "And let me guess, you want me to stop it?" The princess's jaw tightened. She did not deny it. "Yes, Earthling, You are the only one who can. My soldiers cannot touch it. My empire cannot contain it. Only you, unpredictable and stubborn, can stand between it and freedom." Daniel laughed bitterly, his voice weak. "I'm just a supply pilot. I was delivering crates of food before all this. And now you're telling me the fate of galaxies is in my hands?" The princess stepped closer, her presence heavy, her silver hair glowing faintly. She looked down at him, her voice low and sharp. "It is not a request, human, it is the truth. You were chosen not by me, but by the device itself. You carry the spark it needs, and if you walk away now, both my empire and your Earth will burn." Daniel stared at her, his heart pounding, his mind screaming for escape. He wanted to run, to fly back to his small ship and leave this madness behind. But her glowing eyes pierced through his fear, forcing him to face the weight of her words. The ground shook again, deeper this time, a rumble like the growl of something waking from long sleep. Cracks spread across the crystal throne room. Light flickered in strange patterns. The enemy below stirred. The princess turned to her guards. Barking orders in her alien tongue, they moved quickly, preparing the path deeper into the ship, toward the royal core. She turned back to Daniel, her tone sharp. "There is no time, Earthling. You must decide now. Will you fight? Or will you abandon your world?" Daniel clenched his fists. Anger mixing with fear, he shouted, "Why me? Why not your people? Why not another species? Why always humans?" The princess's voice thundered through the hall. "Because humans break rules. Because humans defy limits. Because your kind refuses to bow even when it should. And that is what the galaxy needs now." Her tone softened only slightly, her eyes narrowing. "But do not mistake this for praise, Earthling. It is desperation." Daniel's chest rose and fell. His thoughts racing, he thought of Earth, of its oceans, its cities, the people who never knew this war existed. He thought of his quiet life, of the nights he had wished for adventure. And now adventure had come, cruel and merciless. The princess stepped closer, so near he could see the faint scars carved into her silver armor. Her voice dropped lower, almost a whisper. "If you choose to walk away, I cannot stop you. You may return to your ship, fly back to your home, and forget this. But when the enemy rises, your Earth will be the first to fall, because you were the one who opened the seal." Daniel's throat tightened, the weight of her words crushing him. He had wished for something greater, but now that it stood before him, it felt unbearable. The rumble shook the hall again, louder, the golden floor splitting wider. From the cracks came a faint red glow. Pulsing like a heartbeat, the princess raised her hand, pointing toward the stairs leading down to the royal core, her tone sharp. "Choose now, human, your time is gone." The enemy rises. Daniel's hands shook. His mind battled itself, fear against duty, selfishness against courage. His voice broke. "If I go down there, I might not come back." The princess's glowing eyes softened for the first time. Just for a moment. "That is the nature of choice. Earthling, a throne, a world, a life, all demand sacrifice." The rumble turned into a roar. The floor beneath them glowed red. The guards stumbled back in fear. The energy from below burned hotter. Daniel felt it pulling at him, calling him. He clenched his fists, his voice louder now, though still shaking. "Then I'll make the choice, not for you, not for your empire, but for my world, for my people. If Earth is on the line, I can't just walk away." The princess's lips curved into the faintest shadow of a smile. Sharp and proud. At last the human chooses. And the galaxy will remember this choice. Daniel took a deep breath, forcing his legs to move, each step heavy, carrying him toward the stairs leading into the unknown core, the heat from below rising like the breath of a dragon. But as he reached the top of the stairs, the roar grew louder, and from the cracks in the floor a new voice emerged, deep, ancient, cruel. "So the Earthling has chosen. How amusing, how delicious. Come then, human. Let us see if your spirit can withstand eternity." Daniel froze, his blood turning cold. The voice was inside his head. Heavier than the shadow before, the true enemy was awake. The princess's voice rose behind him, sharp and commanding. "Go, Earthling! Do not falter now." Daniel tightened his fists, his heart hammering. He stepped down into the burning red glow, the shadows stretching long, his body trembling, and in that moment he knew. His choice had been made, and there was no turning back. The stairs spiraled downward into the royal core, each step glowing red under Daniel's boots. The heat rose like fire from the heart of a dying star. Sweat dripped from his forehead. His chest burned with every breath, yet he pushed forward, one step after another. Behind him, the golden throne room shook with the fury of the awakening. The alien princess stood with her guards, Her glowing eyes locked on the human vanishing into the core. Her voice carried after him, sharp and commanding. "Do not falter, Earthling.
The galaxy depends on you."
Daniel clenched his fists tighter, his body trembling with fear and exhaustion. But his mind was sharper now. The choice was already made. He would not run. He would not abandon Earth at the bottom of the stairs. The core chamber opened wide, larger than anything he had ever seen. A massive pit stretched before him, glowing red with molten energy, and above it floated a colossal form. Chained by beams of light, the true enemy. Its body was not smoke like the shadow before. It was made of fire and dark metal. Its wings stretched wide like blades. Its chest pulsed like a burning sun. Its eyes glowed brighter than any star, two blazing orbs of hatred it pulled against the chains, and each pull shook the ground. Its voice boomed inside Daniel's skull, deep and cruel. "So the Earthling comes at last. The fragile creature who dared break my seal. You cannot defeat me, human, no one can. I was old when stars were young. I am the hunger between galaxies. I am eternal." Daniel's legs shook, his heart thundered in his chest, but he shouted back, his voice raw. "Maybe you're eternal, but you've never faced humans before. We don't play by the rules." The creature laughed. The sound a storm of fire. "You think your stubborn spirit can save you? Your people are nothing but dust in waiting. I will burn your Earth first, so you will watch your home die as I devour the stars." The chains cracked, light burst, the roar shook Daniel's bones. The princess's voice rang out through a comm channel, sharp and urgent. "Earthling, the royal core is tied to the device. Only you can channel its power, but if you unleash it, you may not survive." Daniel stared at the creature thrashing against the chains, at the molten pit glowing brighter. His chest rose and fell with heavy breaths. "So it's my life, or everyone's," he whispered, his hands trembling. The princess's voice grew lower, almost softer. "Yes, human, it is the price. The galaxy waits for your choice, fight and fall, or flee and let us burn." Daniel closed his eyes for a moment, his mind racing with memories, Earth's blue oceans, the laughter of children in city streets, the quiet nights he had spent wishing for adventure. He opened his eyes again, fire burning inside them. No, if one human life can stop this thing, then it's worth it. He stepped forward. Onto the edge of the core, beams of energy surged around him. Symbols glowed on the floor, and the device that once trapped the shadow pulsed alive again, waiting for him, calling to him. The creature roared, the chains snapping one by one, its burning wings stretching wide, its voice shaking the chamber. "Foolish Earthling, you cannot bind me again." Daniel spread his arms, stepping into the center of the glowing symbols, the light rising around him. He shouted back, his voice filled with fire. "Maybe I can't bind you forever, but I can stop you now, and that's enough." The device flared. Energy surged into his body. His hands glowed like living stars. His chest burned with power. He screamed in pain and strength. The beams of light shot outward, striking the creature. The chains reforged with blinding brightness. The monster shrieked, its fiery wings torn apart by the light. Its voice cracked with rage. "Earthling, you dare sacrifice yourself for nothing." Daniel's body shook violently, the energy tearing at him, but he held firm, his voice breaking through the roar. "Humans, always dare." The chamber exploded with light. A storm of fire and energy clashed. The core trembled. The ship shook. The princess and her guards shielded their eyes as the brightness swallowed everything, then silence. The red glow faded. The fire dimmed. The chains of light held strong. The creature's voice was gone. Sealed once more, deep and bound. Daniel lay at the center of the glowing floor. His body weak, barely breathing, his vision blurred, he saw only shapes. And then the princess appeared above him, her glowing eyes softer than ever before. She knelt, her silver armor shimmering faintly. She looked at him not as a subject, not as a tool, but as something greater. Her voice low, almost reverent. "You did it, Earthling. You saved us all." Daniel tried to smile, his voice weak, barely a whisper. "Just doing what humans do best. Surviving." Then his eyes closed, his body going limp. The princess stood, lifting him in her arms, carrying him up from the core, her voice echoing through the throne room, sharp and strong once again. "Remember this day, my people, for the galaxy has witnessed a human's courage. Let his name be carried among the stars." The guards bowed their heads, their voices rising in chant echoing through the ship. Daniel's fate hung in silence, his body broken, but his legend born, and far beyond, across the endless stars, stories began to spread. Stories of an impatient alien princess, a stubborn human, and the day Earth proved why humanity could never be ignored, because the galaxy had learned a new truth, one that would never be forgotten. When a princess demands, only a human dares to answer.